What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Danny the Bull, back with another live stream here on, what's today? Wednesday. It's been a week since my last stream, and so much has happened in the last week. Our bags are down. We had the biggest liquidation event in crypto history, bigger than FTX, bigger than Luna. A big red day, ETH down 33% in one day. Our alts down bad. Then we had a nice bounce back, but I don't know if the pain is over just yet, but I'm not deterred. I still believe in this market, still believe alt season is coming. Still, G Money is he's crying over here. He's got the angry crying emoji, and that's how it feels on these days, right? When you're down big and it's not been an easy market. That is 100% for sure. It's not been an easy market, but we'll talk all about what happened with the tariff collapse and the trade wars that prompted the big money to dump the market, because that's what happened, right? You saw the market kind of manipulated and dumped. And so nothing has changed in my view. I still think we are going higher. I'll explain why. We'll talk about our favorite alts. So as always, light up the chat, and let's get into it. Let's see who we got here. Eagle in the house, LFG. Let's go. Sam in the house. What's going on, brother? Yes, I talked about mint layer in my last stream and price targets. I'll circle back more. I would like to see it. I think it hit $1 last year, which is a 20x, almost a 20x from where we are now. I think it can get beyond that. I'd like to see it at $3 is a $300 million market cap. Not unreasonable. I think very, doable in a full-on bull market. I think it can go higher, right? I don't have any price targets. I just think of things in terms of price potential. And if you stick around, Sam, and I'll try to get back to it later. Mark Myers, what's good? What kind of market cap is needed for Binance listing? Example, mint layer. They need volume, a lot of volume, bigger market cap. I don't really track what's listed on Binance, and I would think, over 100 million and good volume, right? And that's what they care about, is the volume. And, getting paid to list it also, right? Costs a lot of money to get on these big exchanges, unless they list you for free. But they typically do that for a really, really hot project or token, like Peanut. Base Lab in the house. What's good, brother? Timo, what's going on? Russ G, smash the like. Thank you for the reminder. Ed Vasquez, what's good? Looks like we already had the first Trump pump. I think the market digested the initial news. I do think we're going to get more pumps, bigger pumps. Bitcoin's at $97,000, right? I want you to think about that I know our alts are down really bad. I think that's the thing that's concerning people, and that people have freaked out about. And there have been whispers of no alt season, but you can say this time is different, but until it's different, it's not different. We are maybe 4 weeks behind schedule in terms of an alt season. I think the thing is that people married an expectation, and the expectation was based on time, right? We married an expectation that alt season would happen around now, that it would start, that our alts would recover, and Bitcoin dominance would drop, and things would start moving in the opposite direction for our alts. It hasn't happened yet. Look how crazy and freaked out people get for a 4-week delay. And that's all it is, right? We're still in QT. Maybe it's a matter of QE turning back on and the Fed loosening up a bit. Maybe it's just when the market decides and the market makers decide, because we'll talk about, what happened with the big dump. But until this time is proven to be different, it's not different in my eyes, because every cycle everyone says, gives reasons as to why this time is different. And they'll do it on the bullish side and say we're in a super cycle and we're going to crazy market caps. And they'll do it on the flip side. And in fact, let me pull up. I bookmarked a good tweet from, I think it was House of Crypto. I have a lot to discuss here. Here we go. So, is alt season canceled? Sentiment in January 2021 before an enormous altcoin season pumped. It's exactly the same right now. Look at these tweets from last cycle. All right, January 2021. No alt season this time, so dump the garbage while you still can. There is no alt season. Dead cat bounce for alts. Alt's going to die. There will be no alt season. It seems that there will be no alt season this year. Only Bitcoin season. Bitcoin has doubled in price with no alt season. Maybe alt season is a myth. The same thing is playing out. I don't think we're getting an alt season. Okay, and so this time is not different in my eyes. It's just taking its time to play out, but I think it's going to play out. I think we just got to be patient. And, the market sometimes likes to extract max pain from participants. MCADE community still strong. Yes, sir. Mateus, what's good, brother? Harish, what's going on? But Bitcoin is at 97,000, right? Down a little under 1% right now. Went down to about 90, and this is held strong. Well, I think it went down to 90 on the big dump, right? I think it wicked down there. Must have closed out at 92. But, when in doubt, zoom out. And that chart looks very healthy to me, right? The Bitcoin chart still looks very healthy. We lost the $100,000 range, got, dropped back into the upper 90s. But, there's nothing unhealthy about Bitcoin. And, when your mind starts playing tricks on you and you start thinking like the people, or questioning like the people from, January 2021 who were wondering if there would be an alt season, just simplify things. Are we in a macro bull market? Is Bitcoin healthy and trending up? The answer to both of those questions is yes. And there are many reasons to believe why this year we will have an explosive alt season. And we all know what those reasons are in terms of the government, the United States now being pro-crypto, and all the bullish things that are happening that are not quite reflected in the price right now, but they will be. Bitcoin, fear and greed, we're at neutral right now, and this is good to see. It's good to see a reset of sentiment. You got to flush it out and kind of reboot and restart. But, if you're not following Marty Party, he's been a good one to follow. He's been tracking, Binance's wallets and the money market makers this whole time, and talking about and forecasting really, how they have been dumping the market on news. And so the Trump tariff news comes out, which happened on the weekend, by the way, while the traditional markets were closed. That was purposeful, right? That was done on purpose. The news was dropped on the weekend, and on the news, Binance shipped off hundreds of millions of dollars in Bitcoin and Ethereum to Wintermute, their market maker. It was dumped on the market, and later, more Bitcoin and Ethereum was sent back to Binance. This has been a repeated pattern as they stomp out leverage traders. And so, I think it's important to understand these things, because when you understand them, then you're not as likely to get shaken out of the market. And, if you look back to where is it? If you look back to the lawsuit that was filed against Binance by Gensler and the SEC, who we absolutely hate, but if you look back at the lawsuit that was filed, they talk about the manipulative trading of its affiliated market maker. All right, and wash trading and all these things that they participate in. And, these things are not good for the market. We hate Gensler and his cronies and everything that was going on there, and regulation by enforcement. But these things are not good for the market. And Marty Party just put out another tweet talking about how it needs to be stopped. Where is it? It was earlier today. He put out a call for these sorts of behaviors to be stopped because they threaten the US dollar effectively, as now, traditional finance is now merging with, Bitcoin and crypto. This sorts of market manipulation poses an even bigger threat. And so it's good to be aware of it, because when you're aware of it, you can understand it better and you don't get shaken out of your bags. And I think, if the thesis is that that Bitcoin is continuing its move up towards new all-time highs in the coming months, and if the thesis is that Ethereum eventually breaks out, which I have no doubt that it will. It's been in a range for a year now, a whole year of Ethereum effectively chopping sideways. And yet, the president of the United States is buying up a bunch of Ethereum. His family bought, I want to say, $70 million worth of Ethereum at $2,500 after the dump. ETH's going to have its moment, and alts are going to have their moment. And so this time is not different. Jorge says, Omi, man. Yeah, Omi's been pretty rough. It's going to continue downtrend. Doesn't look good. Then I got out of it a while ago. Gave him time. But what's good, Cash? Chuck to a buck. Let's go. Harish, Chuck to a buck. Do you think Trump or the government are interested in a volatile bull run, or could they be involved in market manipulation? I mean, I wouldn't put anything past anyone, to be quite honest. And, 80% of Trump's net worth is in crypto. His family knows full well where this market is going. So, he knows what he's doing in terms of when he drops news. There was another bit of news that dropped on a Friday from the Trump administration. They do this so as not to disrupt the traditional finance market, but crypto runs 24/7. And so, Eric Trump buys $70 million worth of Ethereum after a dump. Nothing shocks me. Eric Trump also put out a tweet saying, now is a good time to buy Ethereum. I don't know about, blatant market manipulation, but, when you're a volatile person and we're in a volatile market, there's going to be extra volatility, right? And things that he says will move the market. This stage of the market is volatile by nature. All right, we all know about the volatility of crypto, which, by the way, you love the volatility to the upside, right? Because that's where the money's made. That's why we are here. We are here for the volatility. That's where the money is made. You have to stomach the volatility to the downside. If you can't, you won't make it. That's why most people don't make it, and they get shaken out their bags, and they just can't stomach it. You have to be able to stomach the volatility and take advantage of it. And so I bought on whatever day that was when the market totally tanked. I bought. It's like when Solana went down to $8. It was not easy to buy because everyone was saying it's going to go down to $3. The biggest influencers who are now talking about sold to $1,000 on their streams. I remember watching because I wanted to see what everyone was saying. You know, I was trying to decide if I should load up or be scared. Everyone was saying, be careful. It could go to $3. And so in hindsight, if you were able to stomach that volatility and accumulate, you did very well. And I think the same holds true now. If you're able to stomach the volatility and buy when there's blood, you know, there's that saying, buy when there's blood on the streets, but the second half of the saying is what's best. Buy when there's blood on the streets, even if it's your own. And I think that's what messes with people's minds, is that they feel it. They feel the pain of their bags being down. It's their own blood on the streets, and it's not easy psychologically to do it. But in this market, it's 90 success in crypto. I would say 90% of it is psychological, because it's not that hard to pick coins that are going to go up. Because when alts pump, despite what people are saying that alts, you know, we're not going to get an alt season. I was watching Crypto Banter, and he's been driving that point home a lot, that it's not going to be the same type of alt season. I don't believe that. I mean, I agree that not everything is going to go parabolic. Maybe things will be a little more muted, but I think there's plenty of money that's going to flow that will pump many of these tokens. And so it's not that hard to find good projects and stick to them. The hard part is sticking to them and doing like the opposite of what your heart is telling you, right? Like your emotions are telling you. And so your emotions will be fearful when you on days like this weekend, right? You're scared and you feel like you want to sell. If the long-term thesis is correct, that's the time to buy, right? And likewise, when everything's pumping, it's time to sell. And so you really got to get the psychology of this game right. I talk about it a lot on this channel because I feel like that is most important. You know, anyone can find coins. There are a lot of them out there. All right. You just find good sectors, find some, you know, good projects within the sectors. They're going to do well if they're first cycle coins. But being able to stomach the volatility and work your way through this market during times like this weekend when I think they said $8 billion was liquidated. That was wild. All right, but we're still here. And we weren't shaking out our bags because we understand how this market works. Let's get into the chat. I got some more stuff to go through. Binance and Coinbase messing up a lot of small investors and ruining their lives. You know, it's a blood sport out there, and it's not nice. And I do think that there needs to be regulation around things like that. But these things happen in the traditional markets also. Don't get it twisted. Like, these hedge funds aren't playing games and control and colluding to, you know, you'll see markets dumping in pre-hours when they have access, and, you know, regular folks don't. And you'll see in the regular money market moving at certain times. So, you know, don't get it twisted. It happens in the traditional finance market as well. But I think it's pretty blatant right now, especially with the on-chain data. So hopefully there's some guardrails put in place. We'll talk about David Sachs and that meeting, which ended up being a nothing burger on chart and really wasn't much said. But I think the fact that David Sachs, the new crypto czar, had a meeting and said that we want to usher in the golden age of crypto, I don't see how anyone could be bearish. Unless you think that the macro economy is going to dump. All right, because Bitcoin and crypto is very much right now correlated with the stock market. Right, you see when Nasdaq goes down, when the S&P 500 drops, you see Bitcoin behave in a similar way. And so, unless you think that the macro bull run is over, and unless you think that Bitcoin's going down below $70,000, then there's no way that we're not getting what we came here for. All right. So this crypto banter can suck it. P. Hoddle, what's good, brother? Chuck to a buck. Ron in the house. Ron was saying buy it up at $8. Yes, he was. As was I. I bought up Bitcoin at 15.8. It was the bottom. I didn't just pick it. I was buying at 18 and 20K also, because I wasn't being greedy to the downside. So, when in doubt, zoom out. Ask yourself, is Bitcoin going higher? And if the answer is yes, then we got time. Right? We got time. Don't get psyched out because we're 4 weeks late. Yes, Ron is a great candlestick reader. One of the best in the game. Kumo, what's good, brother? Class canceled tonight, got home, and your video is perfect timing. Thanks for coming through. Cool Mo. But let's get into it. So could we see more blood? It's possible. I don't think that this is this isn't really a V-shaped recovery. I think that we may test those lows again. And you have to anticipate that. My strategy is to kind of like DCA. I'm not looking to throw everything that I have left yet. I'll wait and DCA in. But again, let's look at the environment that we're in this cycle. So first and foremost, David Sachs yesterday, what he said was the Bitcoin reserve strategy is a top priority. And it's one of the first things that they're going to look into. And President Trump asked them to look into it. But they're waiting for the rest of the confirmations to come through. And look at what's going on in the meanwhile. You have 16 states. 16 states are considering active legislation to put public money into digital assets, and 3 others are potentially poised to join them. There's going to be an arms race, okay, for Bitcoin. You have states looking to create Bitcoin reserves. You have the United States looking into it. You've got other countries looking into it. This is what we've talked about for all this time, right? So, eyes on the prize. Other news, SEC ousts top litigator who battled with crypto giants. So this guy has been relegated to the IT office. All right, again, signaling the shift in the SEC. Yesterday, David Sachs, people were, Bitcoin ticked over 100K in anticipation of his press conference, which a lot of people thought would have some, groundbreaking news that would kind of turn and spur that V-shaped recovery. It was kind of boring, right? But again, it's significant because here you have a crypto czar, the first ever live in a press conference. And he talked about the first priority is stablecoin legislation. And that might sound boring to people, but it's not boring. The point of this is to have trillions of dollars of demand in the dollar. All right. So it's trillions of dollars in stables. It leads to the tokenization of things. Where I think real world assets, RWA space is slept on right now. And I think there's going to be a moment if you're not allocated to RWA, I think it's going to it's going to be big at one point, just like we saw when Larry Fink mentioned it. I said it last year. I said all it takes is Larry Fink to mention RWA and Rio's going to go crazy. And he did, and Rio went to $3. They are talking more and more about the tokenization of things, not just Larry Fink. We talk about the stable coins. You look at where is it? I bookmarked here. Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev calls on the SEC to update investor rules and allow equity tokenization for startups. You've got NASDAQ, who I think is partnered with Devi. We'll see. But NASDAQ, in their latest board meeting, they had their a report, their monthly report come out, and in it they talked about partnering or looking into various layer 1 blockchains. We see where the world is going, and we are front running it. That's what we've been doing. We've been front running it. There is way too much money to be made in small alts. If we are, thinking about it and loading up, what is big money going to do? They're going to flush out everyone in Bitcoin and Ethereum and the big boys. And then they're going to send those, and then they're going to send the rest of the market. And they're going to extract as much money as possible. But there's way too much money to be made in altcoins. And I think people are sleeping on that and, kind of getting shaken out and getting worried. But again, here, Robinhood, talking about tokenization. And so RWA, I think, is going to be a big play in this cycle. Don't sleep on it. Let's see. So David Sachs also said that they want to have a regulatory framework within the first 100 days of the new administration, which would put us in, springtime, which is really when, historically is when things have moved. Now, does it play out this time the same as last time? Things are always slightly different, but, Rect Capital, which I love, and this is a must follow for their analysis. They have great in-depth analysis of the cycles and history, and it just puts things into context perfectly. And pretty much everything that they've called has been right on time, almost to the day. They talked about Bitcoin dumping in the 7th to 8th week after it broke all-time highs. It did exactly that. And here they're talking about Bitcoin dominance and how in previous cycles, it's hit 70%. This time we hit 64% last week on the flush out. But if you go back to 2018, we wicked to 71%. If you go back to 2020 and 2021, twice we wicked above 70%. And so maybe there is a little more pain in the market, and maybe Bitcoin dominance ticks up a little. And here's where we're at about 61%. So, maybe Bitcoin runs up and it happens that way while alts are still down. But if you go back to last cycle, here we go. We wicked up to about 74%, and that didn't feel good, right? People were saying the same things when their alts were bleeding. And I see theories now about how, pump fund, the rise of pump fund led to, alts bleeding so much. And maybe pump fund and dilution definitely may have something to do with it. But, I think that we're just, grinding the same way we grinded last cycle. And this is how it feels when that happens. Here's total 3. We're down a bit. Well, we wicked all the way down here to 740 billion total market cap. We're back up to 870 billion. And a reminder that this is a small space. So this is, they talk about 30 million tokens. When you add up the total market cap of those 30 million tokens, it's $870 billion. All right. So a relatively small space still. By comparison, I think the S&P 500 is a $50 trillion market cap. All right. And the total market cap of all alts is less than $1 trillion. Let's see. OG Vault says, bring the bull market on, please. We're ready, brother. Feel like I'm waiting for my fishing pole to start bouncing with a bite. MCade. Let's check out MCade. I'll get through more of those bookmarks later. MCade's kind of ranging. I think that here we go. We lost the support in the 2-cent range and bleeding out a bit. I think, if you're a DCA buyer like me, I think this is a good buying opportunity. Alts could see more downside. I wouldn't be shocked. So keep that in mind. But again, the thing is, everyone wanted MCade up here. Everyone was hoping that they could buy it. So, I remember when specifically Devi was at 14 cents. I remember what that felt like. Felt like shit. I didn't feel good. I remembered what this felt like. And it sucked because I would DCA at 25 cents and then it went down more. Right? And the bear narrative takes over and people explain why it's going down. But, I gritted my teeth and I accumulated. In hindsight, I always wish I accumulated more, but I accumulated. And so if that's you, and if you missed MCade at 4 cents, now you have an opportunity to accumulate down here. Problem is we're all out of money. Right? And that's what's frustrating. But a lot of opportunities right now that I think in hindsight, when you connect the dots, they will prove to be buying opportunities. But make no mistake, it's the game that we play. We know what we're getting into. This is a highly risky, asset class, but it's an asymmetrical bet. There is no other place in the world where you can put, let's say you're putting $10,000 in or whatever you're putting in, $10,000. And, you could turn that into 100K, 200K, 300K, or you can lose $9,000 of it. But what's the risk reward there? That's why so many people are drawn to it. Right. But it's very easy to get shaken out. MCade indeed. Yeah, MCade keeps on doing what they're doing. Tommy says, NASDAQ also met with Frederick Griegard with Cardano Foundation. Interesting. It's going to be, I can't wait for the Devi announcement. They said that they are waiting for the partner to announce. Devi is held up really strongly. I mean, it's $1.31. It's not been hurt very much. And even when it dumps, if you are interested, if you feel like you missed Devi and are interested in getting in, pay attention because it has gone down, went down to $1.08, it went down to $1.20, but it's rebounded strongly each time. So we'll see. But speaking of Cardano and Charles said, not here. Oh, this is a good chart. I thought I highlighted. Charles Hoskinson just said today, he talked about the market. And, he's a divisive figure, and you can love him or hate him, but he's not stupid, and he, he knows how to get Cardano in the news and how to prop up the price. I'm trying to find his tweet. He basically talked about, here it is. To give you a sense of how big the upcoming bull market is for crypto, we just absorbed a downturn that was larger than the collapse of Luna or FTX and have already nearly recovered 710 billion in losses and 740,000 traders liquidated in 24 hours. 2025 is crypto's year. And, I agree. I think that this bull run I think that people are now underestimating it. I think sometimes people overestimate, and the pendulum is swung in the other direction because of the pain that's been instilled in people, and now they're underestimating it. But another great chart. First of all, this one I talked about. This is one of the reasons why people say that this time is different, because of the 30 million. You see that we're over 30 million tokens in the market, but look where they are. They're in the yellow. That is Solana. Those are shit coins that trend to zero. And so how many of them were there? How many coins were out in 2021? 3 million. 3 million. As opposed to how many in 27? This data, there's no data. Well, maybe there is, but it's so small. And in 2021, people said too much dilution, 3 million coins. We're not going to have an alt season. And now in 2025, they're saying 30 million coins. The majority of these coins will not see inflows. They will not pump because they are dead. They're dust. They're already dead. So this chart is very misleading. All right, I think we're going to $6 to $9 trillion total market cap, and people need to touch grass. But if you don't follow this guy, this is a good follow on technical analysis. Michael Pizzino, him and his brother, I think his brother's name is Jason Pizzino. They do a good TA on the overall markets. This is a great chart. It basically outlines the time of the market, right? And how things tend to repeat. And I've showed this once before, right? This is now the fourth phase that we're in 2025. And if you look at, the way it works is you get 3 years of up, and that's 3 years of Bitcoin up, right? 3 years up, 1 year down, 3 years up, 1 year down. It's played out exactly the same. Cycle low to new all-time high, 103 weeks. 102 weeks in 2017. This cycle, 103 weeks. The interesting thing about this cycle is that Bitcoin hit early. It broke all-time highs early at 67 weeks, right? Because the ETFs. But the cycle reverted. It course corrected. And it went back to its norm. And it ended up on time, 103 weeks. And each cycle has topped out at around 1,100 days. So in 2013, it was 1143. In 2017, it was 1068. In 2021, it was 1061. And so far this cycle, it's 791 days that we're in. So historically speaking, you still have 300 days approximately. Okay, so again, we're a few weeks late, We're splitting hairs. We're like 20 days late on this thing. And maybe it's a matter of QE, pumping the markets. But M2 money supply has been up. And so, I talked about that in my last stream. Look at M2 money supply. It's up and to the right. And this is what drives markets. If you look at the stock market, how it goes up, it's basically commensurate with M2 money supply. It's keeping up with, the supply of money circulating throughout the world. And this is the last year, up about 10% money supply. Again, sharp increase in 2020 to 2021. But look at 2017 cycle. It was similar to now. Right? It wasn't crazy, this crazy money pumping into the system that bred an alt season. But I do think that QE is going to juice the market, just the signal that it's going to send, regardless of the actual money coming in. Just the signal of them ending QT is going to pump this market. And the next meeting is coming in March. So mark your calendars. I think it's like March 19th. So we got about 5 weeks. In 5 weeks, the Fed will decide on another rate cut. And then right now, it's an 83% chance that there won't be a rate cut. And that the probability of it coming is actually in May or June. But the markets right now only have a 16% probability of a rate cut coming in March, despite Trump's prodding and trying to push this thing. So we'll see how it plays out. But the important thing is QT and them. I'm much more interested in that and whether or not they stop that. But in their last meeting, Jerome Powell talked about, the reserves are abundant and there's no need to cut tightening. But there's another tweet that I bookmarked here. Here we go. Breaking news, the Federal Reserve's reverse repo facility hit their lowest inventory in 1,300 days today. Do you know what's coming next? And this is referring to what I was just talking about, the Fed's fund. Once they get to a certain level, once they drop, they're going to be forced to stop tightening and then add to their balance sheet. And that's money printing, right? So that's coming later this year. And so there's too much coming this year, and people just need to chill out. And I know it's not easy. It's hard, but let me get back to the comments. I'm waiting for the Devi news. How much of a pump do you think if NASDAQ announces Devi is that blockchain? I don't think it's baked into the price yet. I think it'll break all-time highs of which is about $2. I think we'll break all-time highs. I can see it going to 300 million, 500 million off of it, which is be about $3 to $5. I don't see $1 billion until the exchange actually goes live. I think they need to go live with the exchange, which is happening later this year. We'll see. But a lot of catalysts coming. And a lot of people have never heard of Devi. And so we're anticipating it. Josh Max, what's going on, brother? MK to FTW, let's go. Harish says, well said, Danny. People who say alts won't pump too much because there are a million tokens don't understand how small the crypto market cap is. Yeah. And I've said it a few times. Look what Trump token did to your bags. It dumped them. Everything in the market went down when that one token was released. That's how small the market is that liquidity was leaving alts, meme coins when Trump token came out and it was sucked into Trump. That's how small the market is. And people think the reverse won't happen, but on steroids, once all stables are deployed, once there's rotation from big caps to small caps, Tether just printed another, I think, billion tokens. Let me see. I think I have that bookmarked. Here we go. This was yesterday. 1 billion USDT minted on Tron by the Tether treasury. Money is preparing to flow into the market. This is crypto's money printer. So just keep your eyes on the prize and on the fundamentals of this cycle. Nothing has changed except the pain that we're experiencing, right? But nothing has changed in terms of the macro environment. The Bitcoin's trajectory is still up and to the right. ETH hasn't pumped yet. ETH was targeted. ETH went down 33%. Bitcoin went down 10, 15%. ETH went down 33% on that dump. And it was bought up cheap. It's been targeted for a reason. I think that ETH is going to, when it explodes, ETH is going to break out. And people are going to get, the people who have been, saying that, ETH is dead and all these things they're in for a rude awakening. And, ETH is going to bring up everything that's paired to ETH because that's what happens. So sometimes the hardest thing to do is what seems like the easiest thing, right? And that's just wait. Yeah. This is it. A lot of people are just they've been DCAing and they've been buying in and they're out of money. And that sucks too. Right? But in that case, just hold. I lost all my Trump gains buying crap from Pump Fun. Yeah, brother. I don't go near Pump Fun. There's a lawsuit now against Pump Fun, which is saying that they are securities and people are duped, unregistered securities. First of all, if you don't know that you're going to get rugged on Pump Fun, OG Vault, I'm sure you knew that you went in there knowing that it's going to happen or that it could happen. So don't people turning around and suing Pump Fun. I think Pump Fun sucks because they're making tons of money on, shit coins. And I think that people should stray away from these things, but it is what it is. One thing that I am not doing and a mistake that I've made is over-rotating, is getting bored of what I'm holding and selling into something new. Unless something fundamentally changes with my, what I'm holding, I'm writing it out. And this is it. I mean, sometimes, when if I don't believe in something and everything is down, I will, consolidate into things that I like, but I'm not over rotating because I've learned my lesson. And I would say, be careful if anyone out there is over rotating. Astra Nova project caught my eye. Any thoughts? Let's look it up. Is this Nova Finance? Or there are a few Novas. These are very small market caps. Unless it's a 26 million. Which one is it? On X, saw Russ and MK follow this project too. Oh. RVV. Oh, here we go. Astra Nova. Is this it? This can't be it, is it? This is a Pump Fund token? No, this couldn't have made it off Radium. not sure that that's it. MCAD will be worth $1. I would love for MCAD to be worth $1. I don't know. It's a lofty, it could, and I've talked about that. It's not out of the realm, a possibility for it to go to $1, but that's a big number, I wouldn't marry any, everyone asks, like, what's a price target? I have 0 targets, and all I think about this cycle, because I had targets last cycle, and I made the mistake of kind of, marrying a target. So now I just look at things in terms of potential, right? Price potential. And there is, a chance, it's not outside the realm of possibility that MCAD goes to $1 billion market cap, which would get it there. All right, let's see. It'd be a lot. It'd be like over 2 billion. It's not out of the question. How's TET? So there is news on TET in that they just released their new mainnet 4.0. It's down. TET's down. $3.26. Absolutely brutal. Went all the way down. I think it went down to $2.80. If I had a bunch of money, I would buy it at that price. Even now, if you love TET, if you like TET and you think it's a good hold, the thing about TET is it's got negative sentiment around it because of the people leaving. I've talked about this a bunch. The narrative is still the same, though. I still like the narrative. It's very much, and I said this in a couple streams, and Crypto Seth just said the same thing. I saw Ron put it out in the Telegram. The charts are very similar. The charts are very similar on Mintlayer and Tectum, and they ran at the same time. And so, yeah, they're down, and sentiment around Tectum is worse than sentiment around Mintlayer. I don't see that type of sentiment on Mintlayer, but sometimes when the price goes down, people will look for reasons. Sometimes the reason is just the market. It's just down because the market is down. And that sector is, similar tokens are behaving in a similar way. And I think that, Tectum still has potential to do very well. But we'll see how it plays out. RVV is still in pre-sale. We'll have to check it out. It's a gaming token. What is MCAD token release schedule? It's done, I think. They don't have full circulating supply. I think it's pretty much fully diluted. Let me check CoinGecko. I mean, it's almost all. I think Russ said that everything that's in circulation is it's all fully circulated. It's pretty much fully diluted. I'm not sure. I think these tokens may never see circulation or something like this. I don't remember, but I kind of remember him saying that. But I don't anticipate more dilution this cycle, which is, yeah, when Cash says the same thing, it's full. Some are still left on ETH. It's one of the things that drew me to Medicaid, right? Is that there wasn't going to be heavy dilution over there. So there's that. Well, let me go through the rest of my stuff here. But again, Bitcoin is the North Star. It's the lighthouse. It's the guiding light for this cycle. And when in doubt, just ask yourself, is Bitcoin over? If you think Bitcoin is over, then sell your alts, because then we got no chance. But so long as Bitcoin is continuing its trend up, this market is fine, as painful as it is. And look at Bitcoin in 20 right now is you see the black line is this cycle, and the blue line is the 2017 cycle. And people talk about how this cycle is very similar to the 2015 to 2018 cycle. And it's very similar on chart. It's wild, right? To think about it and to look at it. Let's pull up that alt season. I forget 2017. Trying to see. Where's my timeline here? I don't see the dates. I was trying to see. I don't see the dates on the bottom. Forget that. I was trying to compare 2017. But yeah, it looks pretty much the same. So again, as long as Bitcoin is healthy, nothing to worry about. Trump Financial bought another $10 million worth of ETH on chain. This happened on January 29th. They bought a whole bunch more ETH on February 3rd. So, no worries on ETH. What else do we got here? This is the SEC's new crypto task force dropping a list of tasks that they're going to be doing, or this is on their agenda. So number one is security status. The status of crypto assets under the securities laws is fundamental to resolving many other questions. The task force is working hard to examine different types of crypto assets. That will pave the way for clarity and end the debate on, is it a security or is it a commodity or is it something else? A whole bunch of things that they are doing. Crypto lending and staking, huge for Ethereum, because under Gensler, if you're holding ETH in the ETF, you cannot earn a staking yield. You cannot stake it and earn a yield. Think about the institutional adoption. They love a yield, all right, and what that's going to do for ETH. Clearing agencies and transfer agents, cross-border sandbox, registered offering, special purpose broker-dealer, coin and token offerings. They're going to go through all of this, and they're going to create a regulatory framework. Very bullish. Tectum must know they need to address marketing strategy soon. Yeah, I think they know. Someone had asked if Omar was still there. I mean, if they replaced Omar, I'm not sure if they replaced Omar. Tectum desperately needs better communication. When I talked to Omar on the phone prior to when he was supposed to come on my channel. So I was gonna interview Omar on my channel on MLK Day, the same day I interviewed Austin from Devi. And I talked to Omar on the phone, and we talked about the need for better communication, and he was well aware of it. And so, and he was taking steps towards rectifying it. They did partner with a PR firm, and I have seen, ex-influencers tweeting about them and mainnet 4.0 and all these other things. So, I think that they know it. We'll see what happens. Timo says, I helped a buddy yesterday. Had him. MK'd still on ETH. Now bridged. Yeah, I bridged my MK'd recently. I believe we follow 2017 cycle with more pro-crypto regulations coming out. It will be longer and stronger cycle. Yeah, I think so. HG in the house. What's good, brother? But, now is a time to get into things that if you have any money left, which most of us don't. But there's a good tweet. I think Miles put it out about how everything is down. And specifically, what I've been looking at is the AI agents that I didn't buy when they were going crazy. What's the big one on base called? I have a brain fart. Virtuals. AI agents had a huge boom. I think that AI is going to be the top narrative this cycle. I anticipate AI agents coming back. They're down. A lot of these are down like 80%, 90% off their tops. One of them that I've talked about on this channel was Top Hat. That was down 90% off of its peak. And I started buying at like 50 cents. All right, but I added more at the bottom. I had 1 penny. And when it bounced to 2 cents. It was up like 100% in a day. These are gonna when they recover, they're going to recover hard. So if you can identify things that are beaten down, that are fundamentally strong in a strong sector, I think that these are good times to accumulate solid projects. Yeah, Rio is a good one to buy the blood on. 50 cents, 48 cents on Rio. This is a good one to buy the blood on. And so again, there are many good options out there. Right? That's not the hard part. The hard part is sticking through the volatility and having that long-term outlook and objectivity and executing your plan. But gotten through everything that I wanted to talk about in this stream. I will catch you all in the next one. I may be doing some Twitter Spaces stuff this week. Thanks for coming through. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.